Thank you, Damon. This is actually the first time we are together on the stage. So I'm happy about it. And don't worry, guys, we're going to make it for the lunch. I promise. If not, you can whatever you want. Thank you for being here. Today, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk because Veko and Božo already raised the bar. That's for first. I mean, first thing, the other stuff is that, what the fuck, man, COBOL. How suppose should I talk about LLMs when Veko actually shared you a secret about the COBOL? Okay, I tried to modify the presentation a bit, also the demo, so that you can wrap it up what Božo and Veko actually mentioned, and also continue from where Tejas actually stopped. So we're going to see multi-agent system, we're going to see about the confidentiality of data, we're going to see about the security, and also how you can design your own systems, okay? So today I'm going to present something which is kind of still in progress, but I really hope and believe you will enjoy it. And hopefully my plan was to tell that you're going to leave the door behind you with some knowledge, with some agentic thing. But since we are outside, we're going to see each other and probably discuss about these concepts, how we can really do that in practice. I'm a bit curious about how many of you have been so far using AI agents on a daily basis. Just raise up your hands. That's a critical mass of people, and that's amazing. How many of you are actually doing AI on a daily basis? Okay, so we have lower hands. How many of you have been replaced by AI so far? 1, 2, okay. And how many of you, while doing that, faced these? So we try to develop something, we have an idea, but we have absolutely no idea how to do it. And we think that we can vibe, we can do some code with AI, and in the end of the day, we got something really not expected. And that's true. I mean, Veko and Božo already mentioned why. So basically, today I'm going to talk about what Veko mentioned. So I'm not considering this level of AI as a revolution. Okay? Why? I'm more than 14 years in the AI field. It was not so popular back then when we were working with traditional AI systems and all of that stuff, machine learning and so on and so on. Now it's a popular thing. But it's not a revolution, guys. Because before GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is the base model for ChatGPT that was released by OpenAI, we had GPT-2, we had GPT-1, we had the NLP field. We had the artificial intelligence as a whole from 1950s, which is the reason why I'm not believe that this is revolutionary, okay? It's just a tool. So today, I'm gonna go from human to human pairing and go to the human to AI collaboration. We all know that we have a traditional programming, and we all do that and appreciate that and embrace that. So I'm gonna skip and continue with the AI-assisted coding. Okay, so we know that we have code intelligence, code sense, IntelliSense in the integrated development environments whatsoever. But today we're going to focus on how we can make the most of it by using AI. How you can go through all the concepts that Veko and Božo and Tejas just mentioned, but be sure that you're using the AI efficiently. So that's how we kind of are going to that I'm a pro AI guy. I'm not a pro AI guy. I just try to be probably subjective, but in the same time objective about how I use AI and how you probably need to think about how you're going to use the AI, especially the AI tooling. So basically, it's all about the numbers, right? So you mentioned the Stack Overflow. I tried to find something that is really interesting through numbers. So this is the Stack Overflow developer survey because we are here all developers. It is done from the end of May to end of June this year. And the numbers are saying the following. I guess it is readable from the behind. So 80% of the people are using the AI tools on a daily basis or plan to use the AI tools. On the other hand, we have almost 50% of the answers, which is around more than 50,000, that are using or rely on AI tools on a daily basis, which kind of goes with a number, this is a magical number, by the way, 69, saying that agents improved their workflow, at least for now. On the other side, we have something else. Okay, so the previous slide is all about, that AI is not a sidekick anymore. It's probably embedded copilot. On the other side, we have almost 50% of the developers that don't trust the output. And this is up for 15% from the last year developer survey that we are like doing. And only not even 3% of the professional developers, especially experienced, are actually highly trust on the AI. So we have AI as rising concept, okay, but in the same time, the trust falls. And another interesting thing that I found is this one about the vibe coding. So we are almost there, we are almost right, but in the same time, 77% of the responses were that I am using AI tooling, I am using AI, but not in production. Not for the enterprise software that I'm developing, not for the company that I'm working for, okay? So I'm using it just for experimentation purposes. Where's the gap? So we have like two different lines from the same people that were answering the Stack Overflow. By the way, I was also participating in it. Where's the gap? I guess the gap is something that a lot of people are taking advantage on. So we can see on a LinkedIn right now a lot of specialists in vibe code cleaning. Okay, cleaning. So the gap is going good with people that are probably using AI took the shit off the AI, of previously generated AI. But the doom vibing is something that I'm going to introduce in one article is you have an idea, okay, but you don't have any idea how to achieve that. So that's a doom vibing, like a doom scrolling. You try to play around and you think that AI will magically sort it out. It will not happen for sure. So how many of you actually faced these screens? This is something I'm facing very often, by the way, especially 6 months ago. So using a lot of models, spending a lot of tokens, even spending the subscription, individual subscription, this is Cursor. By the way, I'm not affiliated with any AI tooling or AI tools in the IDE, but this is the subscription, how it looks like at the beginning of the month. Especially this one. So how many of you try to develop something on a large code base and try to hit like 1 or 2 questions and then they got like 70% of the framework tokenization used? So that's basically, guys, just because we are using in a generic mode. And today my idea is to share my story, which is like building a system that should support handle more than 30 billion requests per week. Currently, it is above 300,000 line of codes. We have more than 30 microservices, including edge computing, by using Cloudflare, and the initial architecture or the infrastructure on the AWS so far is above 35K. This is something I was doing like for the previous 6 months, and I learned a lot of stuff that I would like to share for you, especially when you're dealing with such a beast of code. It's always like really simple when you're building basic application. Is it so? So what we have for a basic flow, we have the input, we have the code base. Of course, we are crawling the LLMs, built me to do application, built me, I don't know what kind of basic application, and you are like, okay, I use Lovable, I use Cursor, and it really goes well. But in the same time, when you hit over 300,000 lines of code, even 100,000 line of code, you're facing another challenge. So today I'm gonna try to really simplify this and provide you with some value and insights how to use AI in this manner. And I'm gonna show what I've built as a framework and what I'm doing right now just to address this and everything that the other guys before me actually shared. So when you're working with big code bases, when you're working with solutions that requires a lot of knowledge, it's good if you structure the solution in MD files or some kind of knowledge. In Cursor, you can do with Cursor rules. In Copilot, you can use custom instructions. In Cloud Code, you can use directly MD files and so on. So we have a general system overview, which is a summarization of what the system is actually doing. We have a system architecture, which is explaining what the architecture is about. Then we have a request execution flow, a document that is explaining the full execution flow of the request. And then we have a core components, the features, the diagrams, and of course the security, the compliance, the coding standards, and everything like that. So if I want to change something on the feature 1, then I'm just instructing AI in the rule to read the full documentation, to read the execution flow, okay, and then read the feature as it is. So instead of waiting 5 minutes, you will probably spend 1 minute, read 3 files, and the AI will be more aware about what we are working and what we're gonna do. And that's why what I'm saying is that this is here probably the co-pilot moment. But we're looking for a pilot. Okay? If we want to have a co-pilot, we need a pilot. And that was already mentioned, by the way. So we need to think in that manner. Today, during the demo, I will show you something that is really helping me in developing prototypes. I will solve like, how many of you actually tried to develop your next 5 billion software as a service or application? Or a startup or anything. Okay, so it's always, and it was always about the business, the market, the fit to market, and so. So I've tried to leverage AI to develop a concept that will provide me the prototypes so I can very fast do a fit to market analysis, because it's not enough just to do the code. The code is the easiest part, especially in this era. So I've developed something that will leverage the AI in a sense that I have the business specification, even though I will show you I'm not so familiar with the business analysis. I have an agent that will do that, and then I have an orchestra of agents, including architecture, backend, frontend, DevOps, and prototype agent that will do the prototype for me. And I'm gonna show that, and I'm gonna show the cost. You're gonna see the timeline of that execution. What's the idea? The idea is that I want to validate something on the market, and I don't need to spend like 5 months for that and use 3 other guys and probably gather a team of 10 people that will do the separate things for me. On the other hand, the AI is biased. So if you ask anything on Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you want, you will probably, most likely, 99.99% of the time, gonna get certainly. It's like your first love, you know? Everything is pink. I want to do an authentication for that, certainly, we'll do that. I want to develop a feature on this, certainly, I can help you with that. So basically, it is always like trying to satisfy us. Probably it's not the best analogy, but still, you know, you can get what I want, and what's on my mind. So I've developed a shadow. They're not ninjas, but agents that are actually agents, the same network of agents that is doing the critical thinking on the initial network of the agents. Why? Because I don't believe that I'm gonna make it via the first shot. Okay, I have the business specification, I have the agents that are in shadow and they know what I'm developing, and they will control the flow. I'm gonna show that. And also currently what I'm doing is like even more, another layer of agents, basically one agent for now, so it's the arbiter. So it can oversight what's happening. So on one side I have agents, on another side I have agents, and we have the referee or the facilitator of the communication. Why? Because I really want to get the most of it. What's the advantage of such a network? Okay, why don't use one agent? Because it's the same like if I give you right now 1,000 books to each of you, okay, and I pick a topic that you need to answer, you're gonna do it, but you will need time, okay, and you will need to go through the book and so on and so on. If you have agents, you're flexible to do all that stuff. You can change the model in each agent. You can change the system, prompt the instructions to the agent. You can customize and control the cost, which is always needed when you're doing and working with the AI. Otherwise, there was one guy, my colleague, that was developing a GraphRack application that was based on more than 18 gigabytes of data, and he ended up in $9,000 on AWS just in the middle of the process. Why? Because he was creating the graph on a structured data with the LLM. That's the fundamentals, guys. So we need to take care about the cost. And of course, we need to take care about the confidential data. The confidential aspect, I mean, the best probably approach is what Bojo said, that we can, and teaches also about loading a model on your own machine. But of course, you can consider the cloud-native approach and using cloud-native providers, I mean cloud providers like Azure, AWS, or Google, GCP, for using their private layers and models in order to build such a network. I mean, at least they are guaranteed that in a logical sense, and they are guaranteed the contextual integrity of the information. So if we are using web application services, I don't see any purpose why not use the models of the providers that are hosted on their layer. But of course, you can do on your side as well. So now I'm going to show you something with a code. Can you see the screen? So here I have HyperProd framework, I have high production. And I want to show you how they are designed. So in the HyperProd framework, I have different level for different, application scale. Let's say I want to develop an application and just do the fit to market analysis. So when I do that, I have an instruction set that is already pre-created. By the way, I invested in this shit like more than 6 months. So when I'm doing business analysis of something, let me just zoom out just to show you how it looks like. This is the system prompt. And I'm going to scroll for a while. Okay, this is the system prompt. So when we are dealing with the business analysis of the software, we need to answer some specific questions about what is the topic of the product, how many users are going to use it, and so on and so on. If not, if we not ask, it will consider that we don't know that part and it will prompt us. So when we are dealing with AI, we can put this in the AI, for example, cursor, and we can ask something like we can reference, go to scale directory in the S subdirectory, run the business analysis about my idea about CMS application based on the following description. I want CMS for keeping blog and articles and also enable commenting on them. So as you can see in the answer here, it is doing the analysis, and also there are a lot of questions that are coming along the way. And these questions are actually the instructions or the direction where we are headed. We must have them in order to have a good solution. On the top of this, I've built a framework which I'm going to show with you. Let me just start the application. The backend is Python, the frontend is React. So basically, you can create your own agent based on that documentation, because I have a documentation. Let me go back. I have a documentation for different situations. Like, for example, in Universal, I have architecture design, I have front-end design, I have backend, and these are all generic concepts. So basically here, let me start the application. This is I'm not, by the way, the UI developer, the front-end developer, but still I like what I've built. So basically here, I'm able to create a separate agent. For example, agent for a business analysis. So if I go here in the project, I can put files like a to-do specification. To-do specification, let me find it in the computer. Yeah, to-do specification here is about a to-do application actually. Okay? That's it, TXT file. So I want to use this TXT file, my idea, how I think about the idea, and to develop something with it. I can get models. I'm using the GPT 4.0 mini model from Azure, and I have agent for business analysis. So if I run the agent, here is the specification. Behind the scenes is the business application.md file, and I can say like, do the business analysis. Okay? You need to be polite with the AI because we don't know about what's coming. So it will start and do the things in different modes. Let me show you that a bit. So if I go here in the user guide, I have user guide for Marcel, by the way. So you can see that each of the MD files are actually following one pattern. You see? It's not end. It's not end while they finish these all phases. So for the business analysis, we have discovery, analysis, classifying, documenting stuff, and so on and so on. Let me show you the answer here. So it is saying like clarifying questions. I have questions for your idea. So we can go and reiterate. For the sake of time, I'm going to show you that I got here something that is tilde classify, I guess. Yeah, and I generated a business idea file. So what's next? The next thing that I've done is the framework itself. So I'm going to start. It will probably talk better than me, and then I explain. So it's really difficult with the sun to see what is the environment right now, but I will try my best. Okay, I think it's good. I think. So it should start the system. Let me see, localhost 5000. This is the application. These are the agents, okay? So I have the business analytics file, and it is purified, and it is basically considered as clean. I know what I want. At least I know what I want. So now we have the initial agent network here, which is built of specification agent, architecture agent, front-end, back-end, DevOps prototype. They are all backed by shadow specification, shadow architecture, shadow front-end, back-end agents, and so on and so on. At the end of this, we're gonna get a prototype. So now let me just add fitness application txt. I'm gonna open the file so that you can trust me. So this is the file. This is how I see, even how I see the application. It is just a bit purified with what I want. But this is, let's say you're talking for someone and presenting the idea. This is what I would like to get, a trail lock application, okay? You're not a runner if you don't mention it. I'm a runner. That's why I'm mentioning it. Dim is drinking beer. That's why he's actually mentioning it. Anyways, fitness application. I'm gonna hit process. What's happening behind the scenes, you can see, I should see here a green button. So now the agent network is started. Here I can see how many tokens they are using, and also I can see the generation of the prototype and the monitoring in the real time. What's happening here, specification agent completed, okay? And now the shadow is running. By the way, while the shadow is running, the specification agent passed the specification to the architecture agent. So now the architecture is undergoing process. And that's also visible in this graph. So they are like kind of they will probably do the job well, and they will start in parallel, especially the front end and the back end. In the meantime, I have a complete overview of how much they spend for doing the stuff, and they're pretty limited. I'm gonna show you that, and I'm gonna show you how you can control the cost and build something more extraordinary. So basically now they're using, I think, 2,000 maximum tokens for the output. Anyway, so now the front end is running, the back end is running, the back end is finished, and we still wait for the DevOps agent. So far, we are going to the 50,000 limit of the tokens, but the cost is low. Okay, so basically, it is using the framework that I showcased and building the prototype itself. Okay, I think that it will finish very soon. While we are waiting for that, we can wait for the prototype, but I can show you something else. This is what the agents are building right now. Is a solution with the backend, with the front end, with the code itself. You can do the framework, you can run the framework in a mode when it will generate, for example, eco market application that I've tried with a code provisioned as a content placeholders. So if I go to the authentication, I've built this solution. So if I go here, you can see that you can generate a solution with functions, with complete architecture, with complete skeleton, but a coding placeholders. So there is no actual implementation in this, okay? Why? Because you can do the sanity check. You can drill down the code and say, okay, I don't want to use 6 API for micromanagement or microservices management. I want to go with something else. You can change it by yourself or use AI to make it more granular and change it with AI. Doesn't matter. But you will get, at least you will get the backbone. And it's not the classical way of scaffolding the things. You will get a backbone that is reliable and that is promising. That's the most important stuff. Let me come back to this one. So this is generated. I'm going to go in Visual Studio Code, and we should get today's Fantit. We should get that timestamp somewhere. Let me refresh. Where is it? Let me find it. It's probably... I don't see it. It should be somewhere. Sorry? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's see the application. This is the output, guys. I need to change my glasses, by the way. This is the output. So we have files from the different agents. Okay, so we have architecture doc, which is the original one. Let's see it, the architecture. So it is explaining the system. We have the diagrams. This is, by the way, done automatically. And we have the resources, because in the prompts I specify Azure, but you can specify whatever you like. Or you can put it in a mode to ask questions about the target infrastructure. And we have the final documentation about the architecture that was generated, and it's slightly different. We can go over it if you want on the break. But it starts with the components and other approach, which is more clarifying for the AI itself. And let's see the prototype itself. So at the end, it's building like a static application to see what's happening down the line. So this is the application that was generated in, let me see, how much time? Where is the timing? Almost 3 minutes. So we got this for 3 minutes. And I know it's not, sorry. The screen, okay, here it is. So I know that that's not the best prototype I can build, guys. Okay, so this is the running application. We can lock activities. We have some settings, which is not functional anyway. We can add lock entry, which is setting here, and so on and so on. But take in consideration that I've spent like 60 cents for that, or even not 60 cents, okay? It's way less than that. If I go to the solution itself and open the agents, so let's say architecture agent, I want to show you this. It has the system prompt, and also, where is the tokenization frame? Let me find it. So here, max tokens for each agent is defined by variable, and it's 2,000. I know that for the business, the specification application, the agent is like multiplied by 2 because we're building a specification. Doesn't matter. If I go back to the solution, here I have something that I've built with, I think it was like $1.50, something like that. So if I go here, I have the same flow which provided me this architecture, this application. So this is the application with $1.50. So basically what I've done, I just increase the limit of the agents. So you can do more than you've done before, okay? If you put it like 1,000, it's not the same with 3,000. But it is really important to understand that they're working on the top of cleaned, processed, and really strict documentation. So they are not like going this way, and they're not guessing this or anything like that, okay? So they're like doing everything which is basically already explained. So you can see here that I can have the runs. I can even try to do some run, okay? I'm not running 5 kilometers, probably 10. Doesn't matter. Let's say like this. Let's see if it is working one. Okay, even the validation is working. Probably not this one. So running save successfully. This is the run. And we have the analytics. So somebody would argue like, you're getting static application, it's nothing special. But still, I want to pitch somewhere a digitalized version of my idea. What's better, to go with the business specification, I'm gonna do the next 5 billion software as a service or I don't know, mobile application that is keeping track of my habits and my running habits? Or it's better to go with something static or even develop an application that will do that for you? Of course it's better to go with something like this, leveraging AI. By the way, it's doing its job by itself. So this is the application that I got. And also I think that I have something that I've prepared for another meetup that I can share here with you. That was one application that it was developed. So I tried to develop the snake application, and it was developed like with less than $1. So what I've done, like run the framework with a business specification saying that I want to build a snake game because it's my favorite, okay? So it built something like this. Also static application that I can really play in the browser with just less than $1 for using this framework. In the same time, what I got from the AI is 2 applications. I mean, this is built with more than $1. So I've spent like $7 to $8 to build this code here. But as you can see, let me zoom it, I have iOS native and I have Android native ready skeleton to be developed for the same game, for the same business analysis. And what's even more fascinating here, I have prompts right now that I'm developing another layer, which is doing the marketing and sales campaign, which is actually crawling the net and trying to find the real deal when it comes to the marketing strategy. How should I place it on a market? Should it be with ads, not with ads, and so on and so on. This is the story behind it. Another thing that I want to show you in terms of that is the following. I have another solution which is like this. So just to get a perspective what you can do with the AI, let me show you. So basically the agents can work with the models because we know that the models have really good general reasoning and knowledge in them. But if you have enterprise application and you have a code base or guidelines that are really tailored to your needs, what you can do there is like you can connect your agents to external trusted sources. In this manner, for example, Azure AI Search or any service that can vectorize the data and do it in a retrieval augmented generation principle or approach. You can even use databases. You can even use MCP calls. You can even use function tools, okay? With one mind in head, that the LLMs are not calling any action. That's a myth and fundamentally wrong. It is the agent, and the agent is a code engineering, I mean software engineering. And the LLM is the end instance that is just getting the instructions and need to generate something. So in this situation, also I want to show you that you can even orchestrate the agents from the app like a facilitator, or you can do a direct handshaking between them. So they can ping each other and do some stuff. This is the last example, I was inspired for doing this by running this solution. So here I have a solution for multi-agent, all agent conversation after all. And when I run this, it's on. What I'm doing, I've built myself a system for helping me for exploring new concepts. So I have two agents. The first agent that has absolutely access to all the internet, and the second one that has something that I know about the thing. And I have a facilitator that can control them. So let's say that here I want to architecture a Python Flask application for something, and I'm starting the conversation. So now, this is the thing that I was inspired for building the framework itself. So now the first agent is trying to find some information, how should I learn and develop a Python architecture for Flask API application. The second agent is like, I'm glad you found this project structure and components useful, but there is something to add. And there is an arbiter agent that is actually taking care about both of them. So it is like saying, okay, you can talk 2 messages each, and after that I can really cut the conversation if I think that you're going in a loop. So as you can see here, it is observing and it stopped them before 1 minute ends. So decision is like evaluation criteria satisfied through current dialogue. So the last agent answer actually responds with in-depth analysis moving toward blah, 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 and so on and so on. So you have agent, you have critical thinking of doing the stuff so that you got the most of it. In the code behind, it is done with system prompting. So if I go to the agents once again to wrap it up, let me go to the agents. Each agent has different system prompt and instruction set. So this is the architecture, for example, and see how the shadowing one is configured actually. So that's how the critical thinking is going on the way. Let me come back to the presentation. So the moral of the story today, guys, is that we need to use AI wisely. In the same time, we need to consider some level of preparation before using AI. Otherwise, we are in a doom vibing area. That's why I said it's not revolutionary, it's evolutionary, and it still needs our touch. So I think that it was fun. I think that it changed some perspective at your side. The moral of the story and wrapping up this session is think agentic, but don't lose the course. Thank you.